home is probably a good idea. But I really don't have a great answer for that, and so I'd like to write that down and ask Erica. I think you met Erica before she presented here, and see if she has any better answers as far as ventilation during the winter time.
Well, I seal everything in the wintertime. I put tape and seal everything up.
What about your intakes and outtakes for your furnace? You're not supposed to cover them at all now.
Your
You
furnace.
know, you gotta have them open all the time. And then for your house, like your house, you gotta open it up in your attic too. And you don't ever wanna close them up.
We've seen some people do that.
Yeah.
Over there.
In the attic.
Yeah, in your attic, you should have two openings up there. Right?
Yeah, okay.
They had that tarp.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know if they still
Air
in it.
get from the attic down to the part of your house.
You got some ventilation things in your house.
Yeah, it moves through the joints, like
They're
there's
in
a
there.
whole,
And even from your basement up too. You don't wanna close them. You never close or put furniture over them or nothing.
and that's part of what that Healthy Homes Assessment can do as well, is they can look and see what rooms have negative air pressure and positive air pressure, and look at how the air flows throughout your house. And actually, that's another piece of information that, for some reason, I left at the office, because it was like the most important piece I thought was most practical for you guys. It's about a BPU audit. The BPU offers, well, the only reason why I bring it up is because a good friend of mine, Donnie Thomas, said that she had it done to her house, and she felt that it was a really good value for what they do, $50. I was talking to someone at the Metropolitan Energy Center who's told me that if you were to go to a private company, they charge you $400 to $500 to do the same thing. So I know there's mixed feelings about letting the BPU in your house, and I'm not saying I'm gonna sign up to do it tomorrow, but as far as an energy audit and understanding how air flows through your house and everything like that, it gives you some good information to work off of. Okay, so those are the basic principles. There are 3 ways that your house gets wet. Let's see here, rain from the outside can come in through the roof, walls, foundation, or basement. Water leaks from the shower, and then warm air comes into contact with a cool surface and forms condensation. If there's too much moisture in a house, mold will grow. Mold produces spores that you can't see flow through the air, and that's what gets into your lungs. So some places you might find molds in your bathroom, around the shower, tub, walls, ceiling, or floor, in wet or damp basements and crawl spaces, leaky bathroom and kitchen sinks, under leaking roofs, on windows and walls when condensation collects, in closets, under wallpaper or carpet, and in your air conditioner. And this is actually a really great resource that my printer is the one that my printer's stuck on. I was gonna hand it out to all of you, but what I can do is I can print them out, and maybe you can give them at the next meeting, or however you wanna do it, but these, and you can pass this around. It's meant for the consumer, so keep it dry. That's the concept we're on right now about keeping moisture out. If you rent or own, things you can do. You can wipe up your spills right away, pretty common sense. Dry wet clothes quickly, wipe down shower walls. And then if you rent, here are things that you can do as far as your landlord. So I don't know, you guys can pass that around if you want. There's a one for each different topic. And if you're interested in a copy of that, I can definitely get that to you. So things, keeping it dry, what you can do is basically that sheet right there, like I said. Use kitchen and bathroom fans, wipe down shower walls, use a dehumidifier to dry out damp areas if possible. If the humidity in your house is more than 50%, turn on your air conditioning, throw away carpeting, cardboards, and anything that's been wet more than 2 days. Clean up mold if the area with mold is relatively small. Now, if it's a large area of mold, then there's a different process that you want to go through, and you may want to consider having a professional come in and do actual remediation, because the last thing you want to do is get in there with a whole bunch of chemicals and start splashing around. You can actually be making the problem worse, and then you're breathing all that in. So that's about it for keeping it dry, as far as I have, as far as keeping it dry. Do we have any questions about keeping it dry? Okay, we'll move on then to keeping it clean. So keeping it clean, We wanna keep our houses clean so that we have less chance of coming in contact with dust, molds, and pesticides. However, we do wanna be careful with some of the products we use, like soaps that are antibacterial, air fresheners, carpet cleaning, and stuff like that. So, homes with high humidity can have a lot of dust mites. With the drier house, dust mites are limited to things like blankets, pillows, stuffed toys. To kill dust mites, put the item in a washing machine that should be at least 130 degrees. Pesticides can cause a variety of health problems. I think we all know about that, so you just want to be careful about your use of pesticides and how much you're using in the house. And if you decide to like bomb your house, you always want to make sure that you have food products and perishable products covered. And those that you don't have covered, you want to make sure you wipe down afterwards and wipe down your counters and stuff like that so that chemicals aren't then being ingested. Note that some sprays or powders used to kill insects or mice can cause skin rashes, headaches and dizziness, muscle pain, stomach cramps, nausea and vomiting, and breathing difficulties. According to Children's Mercy, let me give a disclaimer here, according to the National Center for Healthy Housing, antibacterial soaps are unnecessary and may even be harmful.
Explain the antibacterial soap,
So they have the antibacterial properties so that they kill bacteria upon contact. And I think the thought process there is there's some good bacteria and then there's bad bacteria, but the antibacterial soaps don't distinguish between the two. And then also, the bacteria can become stronger over time. It'll adapt and mutate. And so there's this thought process that so much antibacterial is making actually the bacteria and the viruses stronger.
Well, now, I think that's a good point. However, I had to go to the gym, and when I work out, you know, you're there and it's all kinds of filth around.
Oh, yes.
So,
I use the spray as well at the gym.
I came home and I had, little splotches all on my arms, on my skin, and it spread on my chest. And I went to urgent care, and, she asked me what had I been doing, what, in the past 24 hours, what had I been doing? I said, other than going to the gym, that's all, you know. And that's where I got it. And she, the doctor told me to be sure that, to use the antibacterial soap.
Yeah.
Because that will prevent that from happening again.
Sure.
So.
And that's why I made the disclaimer that this is the National Center for Healthy Housing and not Rachel Jefferson telling you to use antibacterial anything.
And I had never, you know, that had never happened. Of course, like as soon as I started using it, well then, you know,
It went away. Yeah, hey, I'll just read to you what they say. They say plain soap and water effectively gets rid of bacteria. Antibacterial may be contributing to the development of bacterial that antibiotics can't kill. That's what they say. It's about 3 sentences. And you know how it is, every day they come up with a different study that says conflicts the other studies. So I would go with your experience. I definitely haven't cut antibacterial out of my life.
Well, I certainly will continue to use it.
Yeah.
As long as I keep working on
I want to
it.
go get an antibacterial soap.
It's
Is there a brand name?
I've
or is
never
that
seen,
something-
it's Dial, I use the Dial.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, when you've had an experience, and you know, you're more inclined to kind of go in the way of what the doctor says than what, you know, and it may be, that's probably.
I'm sure there's plenty of doctors
Right.
here that are saying, you know, just because you're a doctor doesn't mean you agree. They all have different theories and everything, so, you know, I know that antibacterial has been a real controversial concept in hospitals for a long time. So I definitely, Little Rachel Jefferson, I don't have an MD, I don't have a nursing degree, I don't have any of that, so I'm definitely not gonna say either way. And then the last thing they just had to say was about air fresheners and scented carpet cleaners and how those can trigger asthma and allergy attacks as well. So they just say if you need to freshen the air, maybe you can have good ventilation and clean well, and then it won't stink in the first place.
Wow.
When you're talking about cleaning products, you know, they'll say on TV that, you can make your own cleaning products.
Yes.
And that the ones that you buy, you can save a lot of money, but the ones that you buy at the store, they say that they aren't as good as the ones that you make.
So I brought this as well. This is, I have to take it back, but I think I can order more if anybody's interested. It's called Safer Cleaning. It's an A-to-Z resource guide on safer cleaning alternative products. And they also have these great little handouts that they're giving there's alternatives, and there's a whole market for it now. You can go to the grocery store and buy, like Mrs. Myers and stuff like that. They have a whole Say Cleaning product brand. Now, I'll tell you, when I clean my toilet, I still use scrubbing bubbles. But, you know, everybody is different, so, okay, keep it clean. What you can do, vacuum your floors, use a damp cloth for dusting, wash bed linens every 1 to 2 weeks. Take your shoes off at the door. Here it says use green cleaning products, but again, I feel like that is a matter of personal choice. I would just say if you are using other products, don't mix and match. Like, don't put Clorox with the Pine Sol. Like, one is probably good enough, and then don't put like, 12 ounces of Clorox and 6 ounces of water. You know, you really just need that capsule. You don't need, people overdo thinking they're gonna get it cleaner. And like you were saying, you're breathing in those fumes the whole time. So I used to clean houses actually for a while. I took about a year to clean houses, and I always wore a mask because I just could not be breathing in those chemicals for 5 to 8 hours a day. So, not to mention the dust and everything else I was cleaning up in the people's houses. So, they say invest in a good HEPA vacuum. And if you can, and then use plastic boxes to store clutter, just because that's less of a chance for insects and rodents to find places to nest. And, roaches are crazy, they can feed off of anything, and cardboard is one of their favorite things to feed off of. So just in general, if you use plastic boxes, that's better. And then allergy-free mattress and pillow covers for children with asthma or allergies, which I use one of those right now. Keep it ventilated, carbon monoxide. Gas stoves, furnaces can give them off, maintain them properly, have them checked. Charcoal grill, gas-fueled space heaters, portable kerosene heaters used inside can give off carbon monoxide, so never use those inside. Health effects, fatigue, headache, dizziness, confusion. It's called the silent killer. As you said, it's a silent killer. 500 deaths a year plus more than 15,000 healthcare visits due to carbon monoxide poisoning per year. At a relatively low levels, the person may feel fatigued. As those levels increase, they'll have headaches, dizziness, weakness, confusion, and then eventually the silent killer, death can occur because the person isn't even aware that they're being poisoned. And again, like I said, over 15,000 a year in emergency room visits, and 500 people die each year from carbon monoxide. So keep it ventilated, and I'll definitely follow up on that, best ways to keep your house ventilated in the winter, because that's a great question. So what you can do, use exhaust fans when cooking and bathing, check that they work properly. I don't have an exhaust fan in my bathroom, but I just open the window. I don't have a hood in my kitchen, but I just open a window. Use a carbon monoxide alarm. I know the fire department, I think, gives them away on a pretty regular basis. Check that they work. Never use charcoal grills inside. Again, with the kerosene and the gas heaters. And then there's some tips here for people that rent, maintaining your furnaces and installing your alarms. And it gives a little note that ventilation plays an important part in maintaining health. So poor ventilation can result in high rates of respiratory irritation, influenza, pneumonia, bronchitis, things like that. And volatile, and this is the thing about air fresheners, VOCs, volatile or organic compounds, can come from things like air fresheners, and those can trigger asthma attacks and allergy attacks as well. And those are the things that they look for, like when they monitor our air around here, they're looking for VOCs as well, like coming up with air attacks and stuff. So that's what that connection is there. Pest-free, again, can cause asthma and allergies. They bite, they contaminate food, transmit disease, they hitchhike people's belongings. Some of the ones we all know about, rats, fleas, bed bugs. I don't need to go into all the different ways that they leave behind notice that they've been there, but we all know that they leave behind notice. They do say children are more vulnerable because they're closer to the floor, don't have a higher tolerance to toxins, and they put things in their mouth. So, and then pregnant women are also more vulnerable to pesticides. They say if you do need pesticides, leave them to the professional. They're toxic by design, and that you can make the problem worse if you don't know what you're doing. So, it gives some short-term and long-term effects of pesticides: muscle pain, stomach cramps, vomiting and nausea, and, long-term effects include cancer, reproductive problems, and effects on the central nervous system. So again, it's like with anything else, if you're gonna use pesticides, use it sparingly, make sure it's ventilated, make sure there's no one locked up in the house. Take the dogs out to the park, make sure you air it out and wipe everything down and stuff like that. So what you can do, seal holes in walls, floors and ceilings, use, traps, bait traps to kill the pest, repair water leaks or damage, because these rodents and these insects are looking for the same things we're looking for in soil. They're looking for food, shelter, and a water source. So if we can cut down their water source by cutting down those leaks, which also helps you cut down on the possibility for mold, then you're hitting all the buttons at once. You know, if you keep things in plastic, then they don't have cardboard to eat or try to create a living dwelling out of. So all these principles kind of work together so that you're tackling quite a few of them at once. We'll move on to keep it safe.